There's not enough justice for women or children.
I would deem necessary to retain the death sentence to set example with certain people who are perpetrators and believe that the law is in their favor.
A list of rapists or sexual offenders should be made public.
Kids are the future and we need to do everything at all costs to protect them.
I don't understand how you're going to commit a crime against someone who can't defend for themselves, who can't even fully think at an adult capacity.
Our government really needs to stand up and say something about this. I just wish that we could all just sign petitions for the people who are doing such horrific crimes to small children and women who literally did nothing to them, who are not guilty of anything.
Your child, my child, their safety is in sharp focus. It's topical, and it starts right now. A very good evening to you, South Africa, those watching around the world. My name is Blaine Herman, and this is It's Topical. Our digital audience with us tonight will get to hear their questions in a short while. Good to have them on the program. Look, you've heard the reporting. A man accused of repeatedly raping his daughter and impregnating her. Another report, the accused, a father, hauled before court, facing charges including murder, rape, compelled rape, child abuse, and assault with the intent of causing harm. His daughter was only 4 years old. How do these stories make you feel? The allegations are enough to make you feel sick to your stomach, right? Allegations that are under judicial consideration. We are watching it closely in terms of developments. But I guess it talks to a wider problem in this country, crime. This week, SABC News is shining an even brighter light on pervasive crime. It's necessary. Why? Because of the huge toll it's taking on its victims, be it physical, be it emotional, even financial. And you expect prosecution, right, of those responsible for hurting you, who hurt your family, who hurt this country. Those expectations are not unreasonable. The dictum: justice must not only be done, but must also be seen to be done. It rings true. Why? It lends legitimacy. It lends veracity to the fight against crime. But what about the responsibility we have as citizens to speak out and to help strengthen cases that eventually land up in court? In some cases, that's easier said than done. I get it, but the principle applies. The aspect of moral responsibility in the name of progress and a better life for you and your family. It's about strong civil participation. This is key. And no, I'm not putting the loss of cases on you. What I'm trying to do is make an argument for a holistic approach to strengthen our criminal justice system. The Constitution is clear. Children have a right to be protected from maltreatment, from neglect, from abuse. So protecting is not only a basic value, but it's also an obligation set out in the South African Constitution. We will discuss. It leads us to the question of the week, and we're asking you, as crimes against children continue to scar this nation, what decisive steps must South Africa now take to protect its youngest citizens? We'd love to hear your thoughts at SABC News_TV. A couple of questions. Let's walk and talk, get you some context as always. How can we work together to end violence against children? How do we protect the most vulnerable citizens of this country? Let us know. We'd love to hear your thoughts at SABC News_TV. Perspective coming up. All right, every crime stat has a backstory, a human face. It is important not to become numb when we hear these figures about crime, the crime situation in this country. Very shortly, we'll be joined by Livhuwani Sikhwari, Director of Sikhwari Attorneys Incorporated, Attorney of the High Court of South Africa. We're going to talk a little bit about the statistics that are coming out. And it is important to understand some of these statistics. As you can see, some crimes against children. This is 2023 stats, right? Rape over 38%. 7.6% sexual assault, child abuse, over 3%, kidnapping, over 3%, murder, 2.4%. I want to bring in now Livhuwani Sikhwari, Director of Sikhwari Attorneys Incorporated. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Just a step back so we can have a look at these statistics. And as we say, these numbers mean nothing without context. Give us the context here of why does it seem, or is it, maybe the question should be, are we losing the fight in order to protect our children?
What I could say is we're not losing the fight. The numbers are here. The statistics of rape is high when we look at it. We're not losing the fight. I just believe that justice can be brought a little bit faster. We can do faster than investigation, and the investigation can be done faster, quicker for the justice to seem to be done just to be said.
Right.
Yes.
Where do you think are the loopholes, the gray areas, the concerns? Is it at an investigation stage or is it at a prosecution stage?
I think the cornerstone of everything is start at an investigation stage, and then it goes to the prosecution. If the investigation is slower, the forensic aid also is slower, it brings everything to be slower, and the prosecution are not able to do what they need to do because everything then is just slow. Investigation needs to be done thorough in order to get a good prosecution. If the investigation is not done thorough, or there's gray areas there, or something is not done properly, then we are not going to get justice.
Are you concerned currently with regards to botch-ups by the investigators in order to bring these cases to court? It is a concern? It is a great concern.
It is a great concern, and mainly because the victims are very close to the relatives. And now they would then botch up the investigation to bring it to justice so that work is done quicker and justice is not served. Yes.
Prevention, early detection, seen as key, right? Are we getting it right in terms of the legal process in this regard?
Prevention, I think it's not being done properly. We're not getting it right. And mainly because people they're not educated. They're not well educated. They don't know what to do. And it's not a matter of being educated professionally. It's a matter of knowing what to do. Section 110 of Children's Act. It goes out with the Criminal Act, Amended Criminal Act of Section 54, where it says that if you are aware of any criminal offense, of any offense that is done against children, then you need to report it. If you do not report it, that alone is a crime, which you can be sentenced or you can be imprisoned for not more than 5 years, or you get a fine for that. So it needs to be reported in order for the kids to be protected.
Hand in hand, 110, Section 110 of the Children's Act, and then you spoke about, is it Section 54, right? Section 54 of the Sexual Offences and Relators Matter. Now, I need to understand, I have a suspicion, hypothetical, that something bad is going on next door, my neighbor's house. I don't have all the facts, I have a feeling. What's the next step? Am I obligated to go to the police and say, you know what, I think something's going on?
Absolutely, absolutely, Blaine. That is the first thing that you need to do. As soon as you get alarmed that you are noticing something which is not correct at the next door, the first thing that you need to do, you need to go to the police station, your nearest police station, or any organization of social development which deals with kids, and report it. Because once you don't do that, you will see something is happening and you don't do that, then you are liable for criminal offense. And remember, doing that, you are not going to get a civil suit because you went and reported something that you see that is wrong. Because at most instances, people are scared to say, what if I go there and I'm in danger and I'm in that? That is not the position. Once you notice that there's something, you need to go and report it, and then the law will take its course.
So help us understand what this means in terms of that. Good faith reports protected from legal action. There's consequences, I guess, to false reporting as well, because there's reputational issues, etc. But what does good faith reports being protected from legal action mean?
Look, a good faith reports protected from legal action means that if you are reporting an act which you are seeing in good faith, not to say that you want to see a certain child being removed from there because of envy or any other thing, in good faith, and you see that this is going to benefit the child, it's on the beneficial of the child who is being abused next door or wherever, at a workplace, at school, wherever, then you are protected from legal action. No one will go there and sue you and say, I'm suing Blaine for going and reporting me for doing this and that and that. Of course, you may do that and it could be a false alarm, but you've seen something which is for you, it's reasonably that you need to take action. And it's up to the law enforcement to then investigate if that is enough to take it further.
I want to talk about the Children's Act.
Yes.
On paper, it talks to most of the issues that we are dealing with.
Yes.
Maybe implementation is another scenario that we need to talk about, but we'll pause it there for a bit.
Yes.
But on the face of it, does any section of the Children's Act needs review, needs an amendment?
That's a very good question, and thank you for bringing that question. At the moment, together with social development, I'm part of implementation and reviewing, evaluating if the Children's Act is being implemented properly. Unfortunately, I cannot just speak about that project which is still underway. But we are busy doing that to check if it's being implemented and to evaluate if it's being properly implemented and if there's any gaps in between that needs to be covered. There have been a lot of amendments in this Act. 2007, there was an amendment where they were amending the definition of a child because there was a misconception, there was a confusion. What is a child? What is a minor child? How do we define that? So the child and minor child, it's one thing, it's defined. A minor child is any child who is under the age of 18. It's not like it's a toddler or it's, you know, yes. So at the present moment, there is also where the minister took out, there's a comment that needs to be commented on the amendment of this act. Together with what we are doing, we are trying to check the implementation, if it's being implemented properly, if the society is being educated on implementing the Children's Act, if the stakeholders know their role, what they need to do when they're implementing this act.
That's an important point as well, the implementation. But another aspect to implementation is the cost factor as well, isn't it?
Definitely.
The costing implementation is key. Is there enough resources to implement? Is that another concern for you?
Look, I think by all means the government is trying. The project that we're doing, they did not have budget for that. But remember, our children, it's our most precious, important, they are the future. The government then tried to find the resource, to get the funds to do that project, to finance the project. So I would say, to some extent, the government is doing its best. It's trying to do its best on funding those projects in order to be able to check that the Children's Act is being implemented. Where do we evaluate? What are the gaps? Where do we put in the gaps, the gray areas, all those things? Yes.
There's still much more to talk about. I want your better mind to stay on the program. We need more context. Thank you so much indeed, Livhuwani. Sikhwari is Director of Sikhwari Attorneys Incorporated, an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. We will talk to her in a short while. I want to bring you this now. Just be warned. The following insert contains graphic content that may be upsetting to sensitive viewers, right? Westbury is a Johannesburg suburb scarred by gunfire, shadowed by gangs, drugs and crime. It's the world Ruby, which is not her real name, grew up in as a child. But what she never imagined was becoming part of this grim statistics, right? In May, 8 bullets were fired. 3 ripped through her body. She survived, but barely. Now she tells its Topical producer, Olani Ringane, as well as Radzelani Nivondo, that her fear is not for herself, but for the women and children who live each day in the line of fire, sometimes struck by bullets never meant for them. Take a look.
Every single day, people is dying. even if you're an innocent bystander, you even get shot because you're just passing by. They don't even care anymore who's around, whether it's a kid, they don't care. They just shoot random people now. It happened on the 6th of May. It was on a Tuesday. During the day, I was chilling with one of my friends whom I take as a brother. So we were chilling under the tree, and then apparently the guys, they were busy watching us already. We didn't know about it or anything. We didn't even feel anything. And then there was this other guy standing there. Then he's like, yo, bruh, you must so scarce. Where you hiding and stuff? I'm like, nah, I'm just in my house. On time for prikes and drama, because always when you're outside, there's always a story. You decide rush, you decide it when you're in your house, so it's better. He said, okay, I said, Ashman, I can't still talk long. I'm busy cooking. When I just said that finished, and then the gunshots went off. And then the guy that I was talking to, he pushed me. And then as he pushed me, I fell down. But then at the time, I was already shot. I didn't know I was shot. So when I got up, I tried to run. But as I tried to run, my leg just went, and then I fell back down. Then as I was laying down on the floor, the gunshots were still going off. I could literally see 6 literally passing my face. And then I started crying, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm crying, oh my God, please help me, someone help me. The girl that was by my house, she came and she took me to the hospital. We got to the hospital. Then I was now waiting most now. Then they just put a cast on my leg. Fine. Then I went for my operation. After my operation, I went on the 8th for my operation. Then on the 8th, I got discharged. I think the 11th or the 12th or the 13th. One of those 3 days. I was on a Monday when I got discharged. Before I even got shot, I was like, why isn't this crime stopping? Because it's stopping us young ones to enjoy our lives. It's still healing. The pain though, it's very bad. The pain kills me a lot though, because once it starts to pain, because these pins on the side goes into the bone here. So when this leg starts to pain, it locks. Then it's a struggle for me to get it straight. And when I do get it straight, it's so painful. So obviously, there's no justice. There's not enough justice for women or children.
Many thanks to its topical producers, Olani as well as Ratzelani. It's important to watch it. We know that we say, sensitive viewers might be taken aback by certain visuals, but it's important to understand and see firsthand the reality on the ground, what people are really going through. Let's do the discussions as we always do, flesh it out for you, get context, but more importantly, understand the challenges, but also get some solutions. We're joined in studio by Lumka Oliphant of the Department of Social Development, Bianca van Aswegen, criminologist and national coordinator for missing children South Africa. Livhuwani Sikhwari is director of Sikhwari Attorneys Incorporated, attorney of the High Court from South Africa. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Great.
Thank you, Blaine.
So let's maybe start by asking the question of how do we change things around. You saw the statistics. The question that I pose is, are we losing the battle? The answer would be, we're trying to get it right. What sort of systematic changes do we need in order to get this right?
I was talking to Livhuwani as we were coming in here to say that when you look at cases, it's always cases of children who know their perpetrators. When we were listening to your introduction, you were talking about a father, you were talking about people that are close to children. And we cannot afford to lose the fight of protecting children from the time they are born up until the time they turn 18 years old. We need to speak to men mostly, because most of the time it is men that are perpetrating. Not to say that women are not, because children will tell you that when you speak to them, they do not even want to be clubbed together with women. They want to be separately spoken about, because they say that they are not protected by other men or women, and they have stories. We've had just a case of Jocelyn the other day, yes, where we are also seeing what we traditionally thought that women are the ones that are protecting children, yet when you speak to them, they say that they need to be protected from everyone because it is how we speak to them, it is how we discipline them, it is how we see them, and we don't, as a country, we don't see children as human beings. We don't see them as people who have autonomy, who can speak for themselves, and all the time they will tell you that whenever there are conversations about children, like this conversation, there is no child who's going to speak for children. So we are all responsible for making sure that children are protected.
Right.
Yes, because if you look at what government is doing through the Children's Act, each and every day in this country, government is in the fight of protecting children. 13.8 million children are in school every day in this country. That is another way of making sure that our children are protected.
Right.
We are making sure that those who are unable to and schools are far, they can be able to have transportation. That is all tools to protect children. When we speak about nutrition, when we speak about, so there's work that is being done, but it cannot be the only job of government. It is our responsibility. Also, I want to also talk to my colleagues, as I always say here in the communication space, is that when you find a case, it's not just about reporting and writing about it and shocking viewers, but it is also about reporting, as Livhuwani had said, that we are all responsible for the reporting of any suspected case of a child. It doesn't have to be a real, but if we suspect that there is an abuse of a child, we have an obligation to make sure that we report that.
Yeah. It's important to understand the dynamics within the household as well. And I wonder, when you say that males are one of the biggest perpetrators in the scenario, how common is it for the mother, for women to observe such abuse, but have to keep quiet, either by fear or obligation of some sort? Is that pretty common?
When you speak to children, we find those cases whereby children are saying to us that you are keeping quiet. By keeping quiet, it means that you are not protecting me. This is why I was saying in the beginning, when you speak to children, they even say, do not say women and children, say children, because we are vulnerable and we are abused by both males and females. And if you remember, in the last presidential GBV summit, the children had asked that they want a separate pillar of the NSP so that we do not club them with everybody. And the issues of children and women, they say, are different, and they are saying that they want to be able to be heard for what is going on in their lives. So when you do speak to children, you find those cases where children are saying that my mother kept quiet, or she knew about it, and or they are doing it together, So as I've been trying to make sure that we understand, children are saying both genders need to be protected from them.
Bianca, fully putting paid to such crimes, such heinous crimes against children, what are we missing here? From your work on the ground, what sort of dynamics are we not understanding in order to get this right?
Good evening, Blaine. Unfortunately, we do see an increasing number of children going missing every single year in our country. We've got an escalation with kidnappings. We've got an escalation of human trafficking happening. And to incorporate it once again, we're looking at the perpetrators as family members, family friends, people within the community. And I think where we're really getting it wrong is people are being desensitized against these types of crimes. We're seeing it on a daily basis. There's not enough awareness being created. people are just looking or throwing a blind eye to these types of crimes, especially with our children. They're not following up at schools about social workers that are reporting cases. There's a lot of people that are not reporting these cases to the police, that are going unreported. So statistics only gives us a general indication where it's actually a national crisis that we're facing with our children going missing and falling victim to various types of crimes. So I think really it's our communities, the whole of South Africa, that is missing the point about what they should do to how and where they should keep children safe.
Livhuwani, let's understand the laws, and it's common cause that South Africa has some of the most progressive laws in the world. But do we care enough to implement it? And the question would be, how do you legislate care in this day and age?
Thank you, Blaine. We do care. If you check our Criminal Law Amendment Act, they have then provided the minimum sentence for perpetrators that has to do with children's offenders. And they have guided it very well to a point that the minimum sentence, for example, for a perpetrator who rapes a child, a minor child, that is a child under 18, as I've explained, then has a minimum sentence of 25 years. The courts are doing their best to implement and to care. Previously, that had to fall under Schedule 5. Now it falls strictly under Schedule 6 to make sure that that is implemented.
Just explain to the viewers the Schedule 6 and how difficult is it, if you are part of this, the case is Schedule 6, how difficult is it to get bail?
It's very difficult. You need to show exceptional circumstances and extreme exceptional circumstances that you are liable for getting. A bail is a right to everyone. So in Schedule 5, for example, if you take it back, it must be in the interest of justice. But for Schedule 6, you need to show an exceptional circumstances that you need to get bail. The Supreme Court has just then laid down a judgment to say, when in the exceptional circumstance, when it comes to sentencing, where you take care of the aggravating and the aggravating and the you must also check the I'm forgetting this word now. Yes, but then they must then check, is this person, can this person, do they have substantial circumstances where the court should take note to that? And the court at the SCA made it very difficult and said you need to note it down to say what is it that deviated to that sentencing. Yes.
Look, just before we go to break, I just want to understand, if parents, both parents or either one parent is involved in such a case, what happens to the children under their care currently? So if the victim is separated from the other children, are all children removed? Or what's the process? I understand there's a Form 222. Is that correct?
There must be a process of a social worker investigating the case of the particular family. And also, all the time, decisions must be made in the interest of the child. Therefore, if it is in the interest of all those children to be removed from those parents, those children will be removed from them. But again, as we are explaining, is that we need to change mindsets as well. We need to not stop talking about the importance of protecting children. Recently, you might also know that Cabinet also had the 90-day acceleration program of GBVF, because there was an understanding even at that level that we need to make sure that we look into the issues of children that are abused, women that are abused, as well. I think it was 2 weeks ago, also Cabinet approved for the public comments on some of the amendments that we have identified for us to be able to strengthen. And once that is gazetted, we will also be able to tell you. But when children are found that they they are in need of care and protection regardless of who is looking after them. And a social worker recommends that these children must be removed, they will be removed.
And when you say investigate, is it solely the Department of Social Development, or is it in hand with police?
It would be the protection of children by nature is intersectorial, because if you are looking at a case of children, there might be other things that are coming in. If it's a crime, sometimes it is a crime. We have to check if the children were violated, whether sexually or not. And if everybody is needed to be there, that happens in terms of making sure that each and everything, even if we find that children are not documented, for instance, and we go into that family, we look at the children holistically, where they go to school, they don't go to school, what do they eat, how are they using their grant, and so many of the things that are a basket of services to make sure that we protect children.
Okay, well, I see a number of hands in terms of our digital audience. We're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about legislation as well and implementation. We're talking problems, but more importantly, solutions. Next. Welcome back. You're watching It's Topical. I want to remind you about the question of the week, and we're asking you, as crimes against children continue to scar the nation, what decisive steps must South Africa take now in order to protect its youngest citizens? Let us know at SABC News _ It's Topical. I want to, we're talking about amendments. I want to make a quick amendment now with regards to one of our guests, Lumka Oliphant. She was the acting Deputy Director General of the Department of Social Development. She's now the spokesperson of the Department of Social Development. So back to her position. So also, we want to talk to you about your perception. That's another topical issue that I think needs to be sorted out and brought to the fore in order to better understand the process. But let's go to a Word on the Street feature. We took to various streets of Johannesburg seeking diverse insights and perspectives on this topic, and this is what people had to say.
I think crimes against children is just something heinous. I don't understand how you're going to commit a crime against someone who can't defend for themselves, who can't even fully think at an adult capacity. There are systems in place to try to prevent this, but I don't think they're being utilized enough.
Kids are the future, and we need to do everything at all costs to protect them. We can't, as parents, as adults, be the ones that make the detrimental towards the kid.
I believe the best case, my brother, a lot of people will disagree, but for certain offenses, I would deem necessary to retain the death sentence, to set example with certain people who are perpetrators and believe that the law is in their favor.
A list of rapists or sexual offenders should be made public, and we should exclude those people from our communities. I think the death penalty should be brought back.
The police should do their own work, and they should be maybe the harsher sentence.
I just wish that we could all just sign petitions for the people who are doing such horrific crimes to small children and women who literally did nothing to them, who are not guilty of anything, and just literally do the same thing to them. I think a way that a person can actually learn from their mistakes is from them to also go through what they went through.
I feel like it's unfair, especially to the youth. People below 10 are experiencing crazy things, especially about the 4-year-old girl who just got raped by her dad. Absolutely insane. And I feel like our government really needs to stand up and say something about this.
All right, to appreciate your thoughts on this matter. We'll get Lumka's take on some of those views in a short while. I want to go to our digital audience. Hands up already. William, your question, sir.
Thank you, Blaine, and good evening to everyone listening and to everyone there. My first question is sort of with regards to abuse. If you look at the facts, if you look at the statistics, abuse is a perpetual thing. Most of the perpetrators of abuse, when taken into custody, they always come with the same defense. Oh, it was done to me and I didn't know any better. So my question is, how do we ensure that looking at the people that are perpetrating these crimes, the people that are doing this, how do we fix what they're going through and completely stop this abuse against children? I mean, I liked something that was said earlier about taking an holistic approach, because I do not believe that there's any one person or one group that can fix this. I think that all of us, especially the people listening tonight, all of us here have a part to play. And I just want to ask, how can we fix, even the older generation? Because these children, all the children, are the future of our country. And if we want to be successful, we have to take care of our future. Thank you.
Thanks, William. Bianca, let me throw that to you and I'll get Lumka's take as well.
I think, William, if we look at that question that you've just posed, it's quite a good question. We do see a lot of victims actually turn perpetrators. So we need to actually intervene when that has happened to a young child, to get them the psychological assistance that they need, to rehabilitate them into society, to actually teach them what is right and wrong. A lot of times these types of victims, especially young children, do not know better. That is why they also become perpetrators at the end of the day, because that becomes their norm. That is what they're used to. That has been done to them, and they don't understand anything different. So I think that is where we really need to start with that when it comes to victims, to actually get them the assistance that they need. But unfortunately, we do have a lot of victims that are in rural areas, people that are unable to get to assistance, to police stations, to actually report these matters. And I think that is also one of our biggest concerns and problems that we're sitting with, that we do not know of a lot of these types of victims because it's not being reported. Statistics only gives us a general indication of the problem we're facing throughout South Africa when it comes to any type of crime against our children, because a lot of these cases actually don't get reported. Right. But we need to stand together. We need to, and not point fingers to government all the time, saying that why isn't government doing this? Why isn't the police doing this? Why are the organizations not doing this? But we need the support from South Africa, from our communities, to intervene, to report these matters, to phone an organization or SABC to say, listen, we know about this victim, let's intervene, let's get them the assistance that they need. A lot of people don't even know there's a social crime office at your local police station that has a victim empowerment program, that has trauma counselors on hand to actually get the necessary assistance that they need.
Why aren't we doing it, Bianca, from your experience? Is it just fear?
I think there's a lot of fear. I think there's a lot of fear, especially when it comes to boys. They do have a fear of speaking out about what happened to them, for instance. It might be a thing within the family. It's a good secret to keep. We got our bad secrets and good secrets with our children that we try and educate them on. Yeah. So I think there's quite a lot of factors that come into play about why aren't these children speaking up. I know in a lot of houses it's a no-go topic because the perpetrators are parents themselves or family members, but we need to create a safe space within our schools, for instance, where children have the ability to go speak to a social worker or to a teacher, where they can feel safe and get these cases reported, so we can actually intervene and assist these children and stop them from becoming a victim turned perpetrator.
Okay.
So I think for me, as I've been in the space, we need not periodically report and do stories on children when there's a problem. It should be something that we are doing all the time, so that people keep on hearing the message about children, what to do, where to go, and yes, we are seeing that people must report. We all have an obligation to report. I was happy to hear the previous speaker saying that we can't always point fingers at government, because government is doing a lot in making sure that children are protected, and we are seeing that children are being abused and molested within their homes. This is why, as the Department of Social Development, we speak about making sure that we strengthen families, because that is also where we need to make sure that the first line of defense for children is their families. The children should not be fearing to speak about what's happening, and it should be a place of comfort and a place of care and a place where they can be able to go to. This is why the Department of Social Development, we're always in communities, we're always speaking to children, and speaking to children alone and speak with children, to children with parents, because once we have that space where children can be able to speak, they speak. You find that sometimes we allow them to act what's happening, in their homes, so that we can be able to get the message. And we get that a lot when we go to speak to children. We are always, because we had said that this campaign must be a all-year campaign. It must not be a campaign that's only going to be in May when we have Child Protection Month and Child Protection Week. It's supposed to be something that we do every single day, so that people understand that you don't hit children when you want to discipline children. You speak to them. You don't speak down on children, because children speak about that a lot, is that as adults we are unable to speak to them. The first thing that that when we want to discipline, we think discipline by hitting children. And you can ask, you can open the lines.
It could be a generational thing.
Yeah,
I mean, when we were growing up, it was a different thing. Right?
You can open the lines now and say that government says no to corporal punishment in the home. This conversation will turn upside down, because we don't want to hear that. We don't want to change the way we see children, and we don't want to change the ways we discipline children. So in the home, we need to make sure that we strengthen parental programs, which we do, and also having the safe spaces for children. I also heard that the previous speaker talking about school as part of their LO. Because we work together with schools at social development, because where we can be able to find children is at school. Therefore, those things are happening in school, where children can be able to speak, and children do speak. Most of the time, they say things that we don't even think about. They speak about even a decision at home when you are going to be moving. That parents just decide to uproot them without even hearing their side of the story or how they feel. They speak about what do they use the social grant money for, and you hear that even during divorce time, they will tell you that we are in between our parents, yet we love these parents as both of them, and we don't want to be used as pawns and as a way of fighting between parents, which is why when I started was when children speak to us, they say we need to be protected from both genders, because we have a problem with both genders. I want to go back as well to also the Child Protection Register, whereby people, when they are going to have people that are going to be working with children, they have to check on the Child Protection Register, so that you see if the person that you're going to bring in your child's space is not is suitable to work with children. We have been working with the Department of Basic Education now that they have access to the register. They are able to see when they have new teachers, so that they make sure that there's no one in the system that is going to be a problem to children. Also, when
just pause on that. Should parents have access to that register?
At the moment, the parents don't have a direct access, but they can ask social development to find a person. And actually, South Africans, if you look at how the uptake is in terms of checking, South Africans are checking. They're even checking because they understand migration. They are even checking those people who are coming from neighboring countries if they don't appear on the Child Protection Register. So you can see that there is an uptake in that. But also, we also heard in the Western Cape High Court, when Jocelyn's mother was convicted, the judge immediately said that those names must be in the Child Protection Register, because they cannot be suitable to work with children. So the mechanisms are there. Even in the communities, we have drop-in centers, so that when children after school, they've got a place to go, they can be able to eat. We have a program called Risiha, which is community-based, whereby we make sure that the protection of children is also in communities. But we have a problem in the home.
Look, it's impossible to have eyes, I guess, everywhere, Masishle. So a well-resourced community with a better understanding of how to process this or how to operate in terms of reporting is going to be key in solving this matter. Your question? If you can unmute. There we go.
Good evening to everyone and the viewers. My question is in relation to the reporting of these crimes and incidences. I just want to understand what is being done from a technological point of view to make it easier for people to report these crimes.
Good. Thank you very much indeed. Let's talk to Tabile.
Greetings to the SABC, fellow panelists, and the audience. My question is also quite simple. I just wanted to ask how, as a community and even generally the public society, how do we improve data collection on this, and so it can inform policy, and how do we go forward from there? Because there are resources that are being dispersed to various government departments, and how could we also utilize those better, basically?
Thank you very much indeed. Mkondiso.
I don't have a question. I think I have more of a comment. I think we also are neglecting what we are usually using, which is social media. A lot the highest trending app right now is TikTok, and we have access to so many people and so many things that are going on in South Africa. But the programs that are being discussed on the show, the programs that government officials and a lot of people are contributing to in making sure that children are being protected, I do not see a lot of it on the social media spaces. And a lot of the children are on social media. A lot of their parents are on social media. And I feel like it's such a great tool to use. A place where everyone has access to, and maybe doing like an ad or a conversation, a podcast, something, contributing to the podcast spaces, and allowing for people to engage in these conversations, because social media is a huge platform for discourse, and a lot of us are on there, and a lot of us are engaging on there, and we get access to, for example, the box we're playing yesterday, and everyone was on social media talking about it. But I feel like with cases like this, it sometimes feels like we don't have access to the conversation. If you're not watching the news, which a lot of South Africans aren't, if you're not listening to the radio, you don't know anything. But if there's a platform that we for sure know that people are on, and all ages, is social media, and I feel like we're not utilizing it efficiently.
Let me put that to Livhuwani. To understand the legal parameters around this, using the use of social media, it can be a powerful tool to get preventative messages across. But it also can be used as a tool that ruins people's lives, where you put out false allegations, for instance, out there. Help us understand how to better navigate through that.
It's very important to understand the message that is being conveyed through the social media. As you have said, that it can ruin the whole entire case, the investigation and everything. So it's very important for the stakeholders, for the judiciary, for the police, when the case is being reported, when the messages are being there, to investigate thorough, taking into account all those social media, because the person that is saying something on social media might not have the opportunity to go to a certain police station to report whatever that the knowledge that they have. It might be because they are scared for whatever reason, because people are not educated. Then they bring a false image or an account, but pass a message which is very crucial. So it comes down to investigation, proper investigation, taking into account all facts on that crime that has been committed, and doing proper investigation. You just don't take what is being said on social media and go run with the story. And I think our government is doing quite well with that. They might not crack all cases or people might think that they're not cracking them because they're still investigating. Sometimes it might take a while. And the public needs to be patient. It's very difficult for the public to be patient with a crime that has just been committed.
Right.
To be patient for justice to be seen. But they need to be patient because the matter might be postponed for further investigation. It's not the waste of the public time, the family time, or whatever. But it's for the thorough investigation to take place in order to get justice.
Right. Bianca, let me throw you the question regarding the use of technology in, for instance, reporting crimes or tip-offs, etc.
Yeah, so social media, we've got two sides to it. We've got a good side and we've got a bad side. The good side to it is we can use it for awareness campaigns. We can use it for reporting. There are apps. We've got SABS has my SABS app that you can actually report cases anonymously. We as an organization have an online platform on social media where you can report cases or either on our website. But on the other hand, as you mentioned earlier, one of our guests, we need to look at our children being on social media. Social media actually poses such a danger to our children. So we don't want to encourage our children to be on social media. And it's not just social media. It is online gaming platforms, for instance. These perpetrators are luring our children on these platforms. They are grooming our children, they are luring them, they are gaining their trust, and then unfortunately these children are either falling victim to kidnappings or human trafficking. We really need to create a safe space when it comes to social media, to online platforms, and not encourage our children to actually be on that.
Right.
When it comes to the reporting of cases, yes, there are means and ways of doing that in a responsible way. Also, as one of the other speakers also said just now, commenting on social media can either break or make a case. If we take a look back at Jocelyn Smith's case, how many false leads were created on social media? Yeah. How many people had opinions about it, getting involved with the case? It causes chaos for us that actually are investigating these cases. It's taking our attention away from what needs to be focused on. So if we look at it in a broader perspective, we really need to utilize social media platforms in the correct way, not endangering cases and our children by doing so.
Lumka, the issue of data collection maybe can go hand in hand with how well capacitated departments in government are. Do we have enough resources in order to do this effectively? It goes back to the question of, is there enough money being pumped into preventative measures rather than being reactive? What would you say in terms of social development department?
No, money can never be enough in terms of the problems that we have in the country. And we also do say at the Department of Social Development that we need a budget for the problems of the country, and especially for preventative programs that we have. But I have to say, one, in terms of data collection, the Department of Justice has been at it in terms of digitizing its entire process through the integrated justice system. I know that they are doing a lot of good work in terms of in the Department of Social Development, in terms of developing systems so that we can be able to check the data that we need. Also in the department, we have started as well with integrating our systems that we've been integrated now with the Department of Basic Education. Right. We've integrated with SASA. We've integrated, and I think we are on the road, Home Affairs as well, so that we can be able to account for every child of the country. This is why we are able to tell you when the matric results come out, how many of our children were on the grant, how many of children were arrested. And as Bianca was saying also, that we are seeing that even children are committing, very heinous crimes because these things are being done to them. And on the issue of public platforms, and I think Bianca made a very good point that there's a good side to social media and there's a bad side to social media. And we are putting a lot of effort in educating children in particular about the dangers of being online, because we are seeing more and more cases that start online, and also capacitating parents. We also every single day in government, for instance, there are messages that are coming out on social media. But we are a country of events, Only when there's an event we start looking and start talking about things, when these things are supposed to be our everyday conversation, and we need to change that. If you look at the media monitoring reports, media monitoring will tell you that we don't speak about children all the time. The reporting of children is very minimal in terms of news, in terms of telling stories and what they need to do. So as well, we have a gender-based violence command center, 24 hours, where you can speak to a social worker if you want to report, and that number is 0800 428 428, 0800 428 428, where you can speak to a social worker if you don't want to speak to a policeman, and those cases are registered, and we are connected with other government departments. And if you don't want, for instance, a visit, you can be able to, we can link you up with other services of government on the ground. But we cannot say that we can't afford to lose the fight as a whole of South Africa. The
number is 0800 428 428. 0800 428 428. We'll try to put that on our socials as well. Livhuwani Sikhwari, Director of Sikhwari Attorneys, thank you so much indeed for your time. Lumka Oliphant is a spokesperson for the Department of Social Development. Thank you so much. Bianca van Aswegen, a criminologist and National Coordinator of Missing Children South Africa. Appreciate your time as well. Digital audience, as always, value added, no doubt. Conversation continues. So thank you very much indeed for your time. All right, before we go, here's my take. And just a reminder that SABC News is taking a deep dive this week into the crime situation in this country. You've heard some of the stories tonight, and we'll continue to hear more this coming week from all over the country. Different situations, but there is a nucleus of fear that is familiar. The feeling of fear, feeling unsafe, anxiousness, anxiety. Will my children be safe at school tomorrow? Will they be safe at home tonight? I get it. It's hard to grapple with the unknown, the uncertainty. But we need to live in the hope that things will get better, right? Otherwise, what's the point? The question then becomes how? How does it get better? One way is to forge forward through the crucible of our shared experience. Like it or not, fighting crime is a shared responsibility, a collective effort. We need to be proactive rather than reactive. Active being the key word here. Communities also need to play their part, because as someone once said to me, when people put safety first, they last. And that's my take.